Right. So I've got my live stream working. YouTube has fixed it. It's quite ironic because the last time I did a live stream was 2 years ago in this hotel. And I was talking about someone called Mark Sexton. And it was just before I was locked out, illegally locked out of my brand new flat of 4 months on news that my father had died. And now, isn't it ironic that I'm using my late father's inheritance on the hotels? So I've disabled the chat because obviously, just like the comments, I've disabled them so that I don't get idiots putting nasty things, because I don't want to be distracted. You know, I'd obviously I'd enable the live chat if I thought that you know, if I knew for sure that intelligent people were watching my videos, if I knew for sure. But obviously, with everything that's happened, I just want to say also, if I ever repeat anything, that's the nature of trauma. So I'll often repeat things that I've said many times in the past. In many of my videos, I will repeat things. It's just one of those things. It's a miracle what I've already survived anyway. So, but anyway, yeah. So I've got to be careful what I say, but I am taking, reporting my Eastbourne MP. So I've got to report the establishment, the local establishment, to the establishment in order for it to. So that will be interesting. But I'm literally at the end of this battle. I've got a landlady who's been in contempt of court for 13 months, nearly 14 months. She illegally locked me out of the house 14 months ago, nearly 15 months ago. And there's more that has happened, but I'm not going to say on my YouTube channel. And just hang on a minute. Right, just put that up there. That's better. It's more comfortable. And I have to take drastic action when you're extremely vulnerable, when you've been through so much. You have to take drastic action. So I've it means doing something. I can't say what it is, but people have had many chances to be honest with me. And this is going to fall on everyone's heads. So, Eastbourne MP, my partner, who's just being, he's watching me, but being emotionally abusive and weird and neglecting me, and his friends abusing me. and these very weird things that happened. So the emails are going to everyone. Joanna Standing, the advocate who said my sisters illegally went through my father's things without me. I mean, it's all just, you know, there's a lot that's not making any sense, obviously. I could sue the police, the council, now the GP practice. I mean, how is it that I mean, okay, so we know this is all, you know, insanity within insanity, but at a basic level, how can you call yourself Christians or a man of Yahweh? Seriously, we are living in the last days, right? And Gurmit, you've given yourself away. You know about my YouTube channel. You're just as paranoid as the rest of them. And you said to me a few years ago that I was the one who brought Darren to the name of Yahweh. It was 10 years ago this month that Darren walked into my problems. I was still into Adamant. I was still chasing after Adamant. I was still into my pagan satanic stuff, as it were. As in, you know, the stuff that my sister is still into. My sister, who's not my brother. And Darren comes along, tells me the name of Yahweh, Yod Hey War Hey, and Hebrew Bible. The name that was removed nearly 7,000 times from scripture. And then I that's it. I realized, you know, that's it. I'm giving up the thing, all worldly things. Yeah. I really just made that conscious decision to really give up worldly things. Even the pagan, the Christendom, the Christian church. This, you know, if my mother was alive, she'd be 87. If she knew the things that I know, she'd give up Christmas, Easter. Now there are people that I have followed who, they're not always going to be right about everything. Nick TENCONI was born in Eastbourne. He's the only man with a pair of balls who can save this country. I shook his hand. I missed him when he came to Eastbourne, right? Now, astrology is something that never goes away. I am close to the cusp. Nick TENCONI, born in March, but he's an Aries. And he's got that something that I've got in me, but I've had it beaten out of me emotionally, mentally, and ever since I've been with Darren, since I've humbled myself, literally humbled myself with my head on the ground to Abba Yahweh. And unfortunately, it's turned me into a doormat rather than, you know, Yeshua was not a weeping willow. He wasn't like a withering, you know. He was, our saviour was far more brutal with his words than say Charlie Kirk. As Yeshua said, you know, if they hate you, remember they hated me first. But anyway, getting back to, without going off topic, Nick TENCONI, I support him, and I'm a member of Advanced UK. which means that I can stand as a candidate. If it's not his will for me to die, because I'm fighting a death cult, and by the way, I've got to be careful, I know, because everything I say has to be allegedly, because of the YouTube thing that I don't understand. But what I was going to say is I support anyone. I don't care who it is, so long as they do as they say, okay? So long as they're not just, you know, just you know, as it says here, singing off the same hymn sheet. Where does it say? Yeah, there you go, at the top there. I got this from the Freedom Rally in London. Yeah, that was funny. That was the inflatable penis with a picture of Keir Starmer's face on it. I've actually, by the way, I've just washed my coat and trainers. They I'm not a snob. I had a very middle class upbringing, but they're mostly working class men who, with their fags. It was mostly men at the Freedom Rally, and they're like, Keir Starmer's a wanker. Keir Starmer's a wanker. There was more of that than the free Tommy. And I stank of cigarettes. And it, of course, with OCD and not having had any sleep, all these cigarettes, just people smoking all around me. It's like, and of course you've got 3 million people, like, it's like sardines in a tin, you know. And I don't like it when cigarettes come near me. But anyway, so Nick TENCONI. So I support Nick TENCONI. I support Advanced UK. They're the only two. I already knew that Reform was controlled opposition. I knew that from the start. I knew that before I knew that Nigel Farage was a fox hunter, which means he's in the club and a psychopath. You know, everything that my mother fought to get banned and be made illegal, he's a part of. That, and it's just pure evil. It's blood sport. So, but before I knew that that Nigel Farage was a fox hunter and that he threw Tommy Robinson under the bus and caused his marriage to break up because of the lies he was spewing, I already knew that Reform were controlled opposition. But the way I feel now about the whole Freedom Rally thing is the way I feel about everything in general. I feel that there are too many truthers just making money. There are truthers who are into the pagan stuff when they're supposed to be exposing Satanism and paganism, and yet they'll say, oh, have you tried meditation? Do you do yoga? And I think to myself, you haven't done the research, have you? A lot of Christians who have tried yoga will warn you about how demonic it is and how they had demonic attacks, how they were taken over by demons. Because if you know anything about yoga, it's not just exercise. You are channeling spirits. It's very, very dangerous. But just like the whole having a sex change and having that done to yourself, it's all satanic. It's all, you know. And this digital ID thing, I mean, really? They know what hotel I'm in without even telling them. And I don't have a smartphone. And I'm a technophobe. It's a miracle I can even do this. I mean, Josh Burundi, the local MP, made out he was a victim of my YouTube channel. You can see how grainy this is. Look at my very first YouTube video, live, whatever. Look at the very first thing that I made on YouTube. I'm speaking for about 2 or 3 hours and there's no sound. That's how much of a technophobe I am. It's a miracle that I can do this. And I've got evidence of me being attacked in a council HMO, blood on the door, police doing nothing, and someone watching live in the US and saying, why is there blood on your door? And I'm like, because I'm being attacked by these morons on drugs, these alcoholics and drug addicts. And then he's like, your cops are rubbish. I thought our cops were bad. They're not doing anything. I said, no, they're arresting me, the victim. And not only that, America is finally laughing at us, the UK, because people are constantly being arrested for having an opinion. I mean, I thought I was planning to write a suicide note because I've got evidence on my YouTube channel from back in May, the police obviously handcuffing me on the bed. They asked me if I'd attend a voluntary interview. And I said, no, you're causing me alarm and distress. I want you to leave. I've had 9 years of torture from them. I'm a rape victim. I've put someone in prison and on a sex offenders register. I went to the rape victim centre and then they're exposing my breasts, 2 males. In October last year, 5 days after I reported common assault. And then I'm being released on bail conditions. Now, don't you think it's strange that my sister's support worker, whom I'd never met before, I hadn't seen my sister for years, she's all smiley and all nice to begin with. And then I said, she sits down with us because my sister wants her there, like a handler. And then her support worker swore at me because I refused to call my sister a man. I was already crying when I saw my sister because I was in shock. She was on crutches. But because she was telling me that she now calls herself a man, I hadn't seen her for years. And the last time I went to my late mother's flat, which is where she lives, was in 2009, a few months after my mother died. And I had to leave. I had to walk out of the flat because I felt uncomfortable with my sister because she was being controlling and a bully. And I got into a dangerous position where a man was touching me in his flat and I wanted to leave. And there were no buses going back to Eastbourne from Seaford. So I went and slept. I'd never slept rough before, but I went into a bus shelter in my pajamas. And a couple on the seafront in Seaford were concerned about me and they took me in. And then I'm being threatened by a desk sergeant at Eastbourne Police in August last year that if I leave a card and flowers for my sister, I'll go to prison. When it was Darren, my partner, who suggested I leave a card and flowers for her and said how lovely it was that I hugged my sister. So how come he left me all alone in the hotels at Christmas? How come he screamed at me to prosecute him in the house that I was illegally locked out of? How come he assaulted me? How come his friend, who has written a letter to the House of Commons, has called me a stupid idiot in text when he bullied me at the Eastbourne People's Assembly. How come? How come? How come? And how come Bronya, my sister's support worker, how come she knew about my YouTube channel? Because she was the one swearing at me. She was the one being verbally abusive. And she's a support worker. Yeah, in the first instance, you'd think, that's not very professional, is it? In the second instance, well, I'd say in the first instance, you'd think, this woman is demented. This is socially unacceptable behaviour. And then I've got the police arresting me over my free speech. Then I've got that weird Irish woman from Let Women Speak, the people who support people like me, Kelly J. Keane, being weird with me and then suggesting I go to the Free Speech Union and then saying to me, we need to verify that you are not a man. Yes, this is Kelly. This is a woman who is part of the Kelly J. Keane Let Women Speak, the Irish lady. And I thought, that's a weird thing to say to me. I mean, I thought these were the normal people. So I speak out in March about what I've been through, which is obviously on YouTube. If you go to the Let Women Speak YouTube channel, you can see I'm obviously very anxious. It's not easy to talk to a group of people, however angry you are, if you're being filmed and everything and you're not used to it. And you've got loads to say. But then the next time I went back in May, after this was after the Supreme Court ruling in Parliament to say that a biological woman is a woman. This is in the UK, by the way. Yes, there was actually a Supreme Court ruling to say a biological woman is a woman. I mean, these words are not in my vocabulary. Bail conditions, transphobic. Sorry, my head is still in the 80s and 90s when people were still normal, whatever that means. I lost so much blood. I was severely anemic. I had to go into A&E. I've got it in writing from a Dr. Webborn. Shortly after the landlady locked me out of the house, the people in that house, the landlady, they were all demented. And I'm not going to go through all of that again. Because I am just, my health is, I've had the stuffing knocked out of me. I didn't think I was going to see the light of day again. There's a lot of nefarious activity going on behind the scenes, and I've reported this to a certain someone. I'm not going to say who or who they work for, because of the people that are watching me. There are some nutcases from Eastbourne Borough Council and the police. And by the way, you might want to look up what trafficking is, because if you are being locked out of your council accommodation illegally, your flat, in your nightwear, a supported flat, supposedly run by staff trained to deal with complex needs 24/7, and the Stasi, the police, are grabbing you, forcing you into a police car against your will, and forcing you into another council accommodation against your will, when your valuables, including a gold heirloom ring that's over 100 years old, I'm talking about the flat I had at SDR Living, because this live stream was disabled 2 years ago in March of last year. which was around the time that they locked me out of the SDR flat. And I actually live streamed in this very hotel. That was the last time. And I'm back in that same hotel. That is a form of human trafficking. You've got a corporate entity that is forcing you into another council accommodation against your will. That is human trafficking. So all of you who have, you little minions who just do as you're told at the council, and the traitors at the police who took an oath, who were offered pensions, who were offered all these things, if you just do as you're told, don't question anything. Really? Because these crimes that you are committing against me and the people, believe me, they're going to come back to you. They will come back to you. This is not me making a threat. I'm saying that this is what will happen. The floodgates will open. Section 134 of the Criminal Justice Act 1988. Richard Inman knows what he's talking about. These are laws that have not gone away. This is not even common law. This is the law. The law. Up to life in prison for torturing the people. And by golly, will the floodgates open for the thousands of people in this country who have been tortured by people working for the government and the tyranny. Oh, but PC Wenham sent me a text message. PC Wenham, shall I read it? Because Eastbourne police like to. By the way, is the bald-headed thug, PC Ford, PC McCarthy, and PC Lyons, the female, the three stooges, the three ugly stooges who beat me and assaulted me all night long on my birthday in A&E on news that my father had died, locking me out of my supported flat. You watch my YouTube, and you even played my YouTube videos whilst I was in that little room in A&E as a form of torturing me. And I prayed out loud because you were trying to get a reaction out of me, and you weren't going to get what you wanted from me. And they took PC Ian Williams, the man you saw in that welfare officer that you saw a few weeks ago, who said, "Do you want to hear my side of it?" Because I said to him, you arrested. I've seen the YouTube video of the YouTuber Gem269 in Lewis on Boxing Day, being assaulted, arrested by you, when I literally just seen a disgusting, vile creature from the traveller community, a hunter, assault her, and she had her, and they neglected the baby in the buggy to go and assault her, and you arrested that brave young woman, that animal rights activist. And PC Ian Williams said to me, "Oh, do you want to hear my side of it?" That was a few weeks ago in this very room. And he's gone on to investigate one of the hotel guests for sexual harassment of me. That Jesse, he went. But PC Ian Williams was the one who turned up in Eastbourne A&E, saying to me, "Why don't you sew the button on?" They broke my phone. They ripped my shirt. They ripped the button. And I had all night long, I was thrown on my back in handcuffs. This is an A&E, people. This is an NHS hospital. Yes. A hospital where I visited my dying mother years ago, where they've tortured me and done horrific things under the Nuremberg Treaty. Was it Shani from the crisis team who illegally, forcibly injected me? You have to have a wet ink signature to do that. I don't know what she injected me with. That's a hangable offence under Nuremberg Treaty. And what did they say at the Nuremberg Treaty? I was just following orders. And that's what you're all saying now, isn't it? The police, Sussex Partnership. I was just... I used to do care work. I saw things I didn't like. I thought about raising issues, whistleblowing. Do you know what? There was an old lady at Cheney's who fell from the top floor head first. They put a blind resident in the top part of the building and she fell head first to her death. And it was in the local paper in Seaford. I never told my mother this, but they wanted to cover it up because that care home could have been closed down. And one of my hairdresser's daughter, the one who stood behind Adamant in the queue around the time that he wrote to me about his Channel 4 documentary, her daughter was also a care worker there, and she had to have therapy because she found the old woman. Oh, must have been awful, just awful. But anyway, yeah, but I've never said that before, but it's just one of those things. I was just traumatized by the notorious Irish dragon who is renowned. Yes, there's a woman who works in one of the beauty parlors who knows who I mean, and even one of the mental health nurses in the Eastbourne psychiatric hellhole who said, "Oh, I heard she could be a bitch." So that's when I did care work, and then I find myself in a psychiatric unit where the abuse is even worse. So all those years that you're a nice, sweet girl doing care work and doing the British stiff upper lip, taking an overdose that not even my mother knew about. Well, you see, I don't understand my sisters. They narcissists can't stand each other. Tanya doesn't love Bronya. Bronya is disgusted by Tanya. Both of them were using me as a sort of go-between. She said this, she said that, da 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 da. And what do? I'm the glue that holds them together. When I need love and support, I'm the baby of the family. I take an overdose, and according to my godmother, they're telling the hospital, "Oh, she does this all the time." So, and then Darren is then scapegoating my sisters, saying, "Oh, this was going on before I came along." No, it wasn't, Darren. I was not being arrested before you came along. I was being what I am being right now, superwoman. Fighting for survival just on a daily basis. Now I've been, but since I've been with you, you've been arrested. you've assaulted me. I mean, you knew what I'd been through. My partner knew what I'd been through, but I suddenly lose my flat of 7 years. He takes a caring role for me, but there's no care. Because everything I needed help with has all just been exploited even more. The disability was the clutter issue. And every time I complained about, I'm an intelligent woman, for crying out loud. Lunatics are running the asylum in this town. Eastbourne is notorious for it. In the institutions, the lunatics are running the asylums, the council, the mental health services, the social services. And by golly, it's been an eye-opener. And then this landlady who's 85, 86. Well, she was 85 last year. She's behaving worse than a 5-year-old. And the school teacher tenant, I've got it on my YouTube channel. She's calling Darren a CUNT. I've got the evidence. I've got the evidence of her assaulting me. And the very police officer, PC Howard May, EB334, who sexually assaulted me with PC Mufali, took evidence of her assault. And then I'm being... So, yeah, and like I said, the demented behaviour has continued, because when I went back to Kelly J. Keane with the bruises on my body, I literally put my hand up to say, Kelly J. Keane, can I speak? Nervously, of course. She said, no, I don't want you to speak again. I said, but I've got bruises. And it was that Irish woman, because she admitted that last time she was paranoid. She embarrassed me in front of some people that I didn't know. And she admitted that she was paranoid. She thought that I was part of some weird cult with some... I went up to London on my own. I've been going up to London on my own every time, except for the Freedom Rally, when I saw people on the train, and I just joined them, the Scottish woman, on the 13th of September. Other than that, I back in February, I didn't even make it on time. I was crying all the way there and crying all the way back. I'm carrying so much agony. So as I said, Let Women Speak turned out to be just another playground bullying cult. It's all this narcissism. But the way I feel about the Freedom Rally and everything in general is, I just don't know. Because of what's just come out, what I've just learned about the revelations about, I've just learned some revelations about what do you call it? Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk. I've learned some more revelations, and let's just say the PSY-OPS worked on me. It really did. But it didn't last long, because all of a sudden, I'm not going down the conspiracy theories nonsense, because that's just ridiculous. Let's just base things on what we know to be factual. Otherwise, it would just, you could just come up with anything. This thing of, fake blood. Did he really die? I'm not going to entertain that, because that's just ridiculous. But the factual stuff is just as shocking as everything else, because what I've just learned and what I've seen the evidence of it. I was watching this black guy, this African American guy. He was so funny. He was getting so excitable. He said, "My pronouns are I told you so. And he said, you could not make this up, he said, you can call me a conspiracy theorist, but you can't call me a liar. And I've seen the evidence for myself of what I've just seen on YouTube. Erica Kirk in a you honestly could, I'll come to it in a minute, but a pop video, and the predictive programming, like, I'll tell you in a minute, because it's not funny though. We're talking about human trafficking, and I've seen and heard. We're talking about an Oprah Winfrey situation with her. That it's all been set up. Charlie Kirk doing, and they were doing the hand gestures, the yoni hand gestures. Adamant's girlfriend in my favorite pop video. My mother made a jacket. I designed a jacket for the Adamant convention to be like Adamant's girlfriend in Puss in Boots. And then it took years for me to see that she's doing that hand gesture, the yoni hand gesture in Puss in Boots. If you don't know what it means, you need to look up the Masonic hand gestures, because I'm not going to talk about it. If you don't know about it, you should know about it. But because it's really dirty. It's the male part and the female part. But if I do, you know the 666 hand gesture, well, the female one is like that. It's shaped like that. It's more like that rather than like that. It's oval more than round, and it's dirty. It's a female part and a male part in the Masonic hand gestures. But to see a photograph of Charlie, and anyway, so I'll come to that in a minute, because I've actually written it down on my hand so I don't forget. I mean, I remember when I went to New York and I won the Adamant Best Dressed Ant Person in New York, and it was signed by Adamant. I don't even want to talk about it, because it was 5 days of hell. I lost my voice, but I made it. But the person that I was with, who did the after party, he said, when Adamant does that, you do know he's doing the okay hand gesture. And I was like, yeah. And this was 2013. So this was 2 years before I had my big awakening. Because in America, it's seen as a North American okay hand gesture. That's something that I used to do. We've all done that back in the 80s and 90s, thinking that we're doing an American okay. And then I don't like to mention what happened, but the idea was that in 2013 in August, there was an Adamant gig, and I thought there was going to be a big party afterwards. It wasn't a big party. It was just a few people. And I'd come all the way. I was the only person from the UK. It was a very small do. And the person who set it up, so to speak, he gave me this, I won the competition. I was dressed like a Babylonian whore. And it took a lot of guts. But it wasn't. It was very traumatic. But I don't want to talk about it. But the idea was that I went over to New York in all my chaos as part of my disability. I wanted to see Mum's friend Anne in New York and see if I could give her some photograph albums. But it was just, this is what my failings, this is what this letter to the House of Commons is about. My failings, okay? My failings, my disability, my discrimination, okay? I had a locum say to me in front of Darren, a locum from the Channel Islands, Dr. Innes Cameron said, "You and your transgender sister need trauma-based therapy." I've had nothing but trauma for the past 9 years of the police arrests, the psychiatric abuse, meeting victims of human trafficking, John Alexander Patterson from the Royal Commission, going to the Truthers Conference and meeting Patsy's ex-boyfriend, what was his name, Ray Savage, Mark Devlin. And then I'm locked out of the flat on news of my father's death, no support, still don't know how my father died. And it's Darren who encouraged me to ask for my late father's inheritance, which is going on these fucking hotels, pardon my language. Whilst I've been abused, sexually harassed, sexually assaulted by the police as a rape victim, threatened with being a political prisoner. Ewan Morrison, the MP caseworker, didn't get back to me. Mr. Holden, the solicitor, who's got 16 pages of corruption against him, including sexual harassment. And I will put a link in the description to that YouTube video of Marion under the title of Illegal Eviction Scam in Bexhill, because she's a fraud investigator. And Mr. Holden was her solicitor at the same time that he was hanging up on me, telling me to go away. I don't care if the Prime Minister is phoning me. And he still hasn't, 3 months after I've become a client of another law firm, he still hasn't passed on the casework to this other law firm that I have fought to get on my own. Fucking no one helping me. Pardon my language, but I don't swear. I wasn't brought up to swear. But I feel the need to get this out because, may Yahweh forgive me, because I feel that this is coming to the climax, to the end of the end, you know. I've had a lot of people do a lot of very, very nasty things to me. Landlords, 44 Cavendish Place. Across the road there, that supported accommodation scam is where, opposite this hotel, is where I was forced to sign a homeless application by a social worker landlord 6 days before my mother died of a rare cancer. She told me during afternoon tea about her illegal abortion in 1958 by a man who was selling his body to men in New York, and a cop took her to Pennsylvania to get the illegal abortion. She told me in tears, "My mother had a privileged upbringing during the war. I've been discriminated against based on my class, my background, the fact that I don't drink, smoke, take drugs, and now I've had to deal with this demented landlady and her foul-mouthed school teacher tenant who called my partner a cunt, Dion Markland, apparently a Ratton school teacher." It's on my YouTube channel. I've got all the evidence is on my YouTube channel. You can look it all up. It's all there for you. All the evidence is there for you. Without going down conspiracies and all this person said that and all this person said that, the evidence is there. So in the same way with this Charlie Kirk and what's her name, his wife, I've seen the evidence. I've seen the evidence of what I'm about to say about that couple. I've seen and heard it. And it is, they are taking the piss. These real life occultists, whether you believe in Satan, the Almighty Creator, Abba Yahuwah, or what, whether you believe in it or not, doesn't matter. The point of the matter is they do, and they take it very seriously. These occultists who are taking the piss. And if you don't want to see what is right in front of you, what is screaming you in the face, because you can't see past the end of your nose, or you don't want to, I'm only interested in talking to those who have ears to hear. That's it. Because I've seen it for myself. And I was crying when my tears, when I saw the footage of Charlie Kirk being shot. My emotions are real. I'm affected emotionally by everything. I've just learned that Terence Stamp died last month. Because I was talking about Terence Stamp, I was talking about astrology, and I said, he shares a birthday with Darren, my partner. And Darren actually also shares a birthday with his friend Charlie, who I fell out with, who called me a stupid idiot and wrote that letter to the House of Commons. So, yeah, they're Siamese twins. So I looked up Terence Stamp and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know he died. He died on the 17th of August. That's one day after my sister's birthday. And I'm like, oh, you know, it makes me sad, because even if I haven't met that actor or that person, they might have some sort of a, you know, like, you know, it's like that for most of us. We grow up watching people. You know, I know him from Superman, obviously. I mean, I'm emotionally, I'm still affected by the fact that Christopher Reeve died. And what's his name? Robin Williams was a friend of Christopher Reeve's. My claim to fame, my mother's friend Anne in New York, I've said this in my last video, she was going to do she was asked if she wanted a part in Cadillac Man, because they used her workplace for Cadillac Man, which stars Robin Williams, and she got to meet Robin Williams. And I didn't know this until she came over here a year before my mother died, because we went over to New York to see her the year that Cadillac Man came out in 1989. And I grew up watching, you know, Robin Williams. And my claim to fame is, apart from Adamant and Michael Flatley and people like that, is Dave Prowse, who my sister and I met him on the way to the Here and Now tour, the 80s concert in Brighton, and he started ringing me up, and he trained Christopher Reeve for the part of Superman. There's that bit where Clark Kent says he's been working out, because they're like, how did you, you know, he's a Weasley man. But yeah, I get emotional because you know, I grew up watching these things with my sister, my transgender sister. And she used to do that thing where she'd hold me up in the air and she'd say, pretend to be Superman. And I'd put my arm out and then she'd throw me across the room. I'd sort of climb on top of her, and that's when times were good, of course. Obviously, I'm not talking about the traumatic stuff, but the problem with my sisters is they're full of so much shame. I know what I said about generational curses. My father, his father, passing the violence on, passing on the psychological, narcissistic mind games. So, you know, it's right, it's straight from the devil. It really is. And you really do need to, well, it's up to them, isn't it? You know, but the narcissist just gets worse with age. When they go into old age, they get worse and worse and worse and more bitter. They project, and then they become like this evil landlady who said she wanted to help me write a book before she'd even met me. So she knew about my YouTube channel, and I've still got this. No, I don't think I have that text message still, but she was saying that she knew the property managers, Charles Lucas property managers, who were protecting the convicted criminals who attacked me. But this is why my complaints are going to the establishment about what's been happening here in Eastbourne, because call a spade a spade. This is the devil's work. It's pure evil. I'm dealing with so many. I mean, it's like a disease. It's like a disease. It's you know, it's one person catching it from another person and another person, and it's like an STD. It's like an airborne STD where people are going, oh, oh, really. Oh, I'll have a look at her YouTube channel. Oh, yes. You know, my mother. If I wasn't my mother's daughter, I don't know anyone who could achieve a quarter of what my mother achieved in her life. And it's only because I'm her daughter that I've survived what I have, because technically speaking, years ago, I should have ended up in a ditch. I should have suicided. I should have ended up in a ditch on drugs. Well, I'm alcohol intolerant, but something bad should have happened to me. I should be in a ditch. I shouldn't be here. But I've survived all. Even I forget how strong I am, because I'm so programmed into putting myself down and thinking the worst of myself, that in a way the pain is cathartic. Is that the word? I'm going to have to look it up. Cathartic. I don't know what cathartic means. I might have used completely the wrong word. I don't know. But some weird sort of disassociation and numbing myself to the pain. But I have been beaten down. I should be going out there with a loudhailer, but I'm very disappointed with Alan, whose father was a high-ranking Freemason and interceptor who tried to stop Peter Townsend from marrying Princess Margaret. That Alan. Okay, it's the same thing every time. I just repeat myself. Alan, I said, well, you know, because he's so well connected with all these lords and ladies and rich people, but he isn't doing anything. He's supposed to know Josh Burundi. I let him shake my hand because he wanted to see if I was, because I was very upset that he felt that he could put his hand up my sleeve, and I was like, because I'm not always forthcoming with men. That's a problem that I've had. But it makes me angry. You know, the only thing I can take from Alan is he won't do anything, but he said just to lay low for a bit. which is what I've been doing. And never, ever, ever tell people what you're going to do when it comes to whistleblowing. Don't say until you've actually done it, because for obvious reasons, there are saboteurs watching and nutcases. I mean, Caroline Ansell's office was saying that the idiots from the police abusing powers community, I mean, I'm not even going to go there, but because they watch this channel anyway, but Darren's Christian friends and the police, and it's such a shock to the system, because you just think, in a weird sort of way, it is the same thing that is traumatizing me and pushing me to suicide. It's also my therapy, because I'm looking at it thinking, well, things could be worse. I could be them. I could be these nutters. I could be these traitors that are working for the establishment. But at the same time, they're pushing me to suicide. And yet I get my therapy from reading, for example, Mr. Holden's appalling online reviews, which he will obviously get one from me at some point. My therapy is seeing that it's not just happening to me, and so with Mr. Holden, seeing, like, on Facebook, I saw this in the Eastbourne as a not snowflakes community. Eastbourne's Facebook community. I saw a video of a woman being arrested for criticizing Islamists preaching Islam. And she's saying we're a Christian country and the police are trying to arrest her, and she's resisting, of course. This woman is she looks like she's in her 60s or 70s. And I said, tell this woman to contact me so I can tell her what's, It's ironic, really, because that dodgy hotel manager who gave me his card saying he was a manager and then told me to tear it up. He's not a manager. He was inappropriate with me. And I won't say which hotel it is. I won't say on YouTube. But he told me, he tried to give me a copy of the Quran, and he was giving a copy of the Quran to other guests. And I'm thinking to myself, what happened to the Gideon's Bible when you used to get a Gideon's Bible in an English hotel because we're a Christian country? What happened to that? You'd go into, even a corporate hotel would have a Gideon's Bible. A corporate hotel. We're talking like something on the same level as, I don't know, would you say Travelodge is corporate? I don't know. Corporate hotel. Do I mean corporate? That's another word I've got to look up. Corporate. Hang on a minute. Let me just write this down, because I want to make sure I've got the word right. Corporate hotel. Cathartic. That's another word to look up. So anyway, that's my rant over with that. So, Darren has been texting me again. My partner's been texting me saying, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Sorry, I'm not well. I'll see you. And he did this months ago. And this comes after he's put his door on the chain. And yes, Warrior Wales, you're right. Why is my partner being weird? Why indeed? Why indeed is he being weird about this? So this is why I'm being pushed to, and he sorted me a few months ago. for no reason. He just pushed me, and then he's got his door on the chain, whereas he knows that in the hotel that I'm self-funding, he can do whatever he wants. He can even be quite controlling. He swore at me. Oh, but he doesn't like me saying the word fart. He used the F-U-C-K word because I wasn't washing my hands when he wanted me to, because I went and got a sausage roll and put it on a plate. And he started shouting and swearing and telling me to wash my hands. And then he just stormed out. It's not normal behaviour, no. It's emotionally abusive. It is. Anyway, so getting back to the save the best for last. Erica Kirk. This is a real humdinger. So I've just seen this video, right? Right. So we're all aware that Erica Kirk did the I love you, the Baphomet satanic hand gesture. You know, they've all done the whole array of hand gestures. So we're all aware of that. She was wearing the white and black, which are Masonic satanic occult colours, black on white, and then the backdrop of the red and black. All right. So if you know anything about Freemasonry, the occult and Satanism, these colours, the elites use them. It's all symbol, and also Mark Devlin said the dates and the geo something or other. Mark Devlin, I was listening to Mark Devlin, as I've said, I've met Mark Devlin. I sat on the same table as him eating, and I had so much to say to him about Adamant, because he's exposed the music industry, and he's also exposed Adamant himself. No offence to Stuart Goddard, but I'm talking about the living man and not the legal fiction thing, you know, because that's like me calling myself Ant Princess at the Adamant gigs. I'm taking on this character, this demon that isn't real, dressed as a Babylonian whore with a whip and all this sort of thing. And it's all spiritual. And his father was a high-level Freemason, and that's you know, that's but 10 years ago I had this awakening anyway. When Darren came into my life, I just got a laptop. We became better acquainted. We already knew each other, but it was like everything was set up, the timing for whatever. And Darren's mother said, oh, it's like he was sent to you. Now, I need to contact someone, and I can't say who, but Darren has left me no option but to take drastic measures. Anyway, so getting back to this Erica Kirk thing. So wait till you hear this. So loads of people are now aware that there has been predictive programming. The 1998 movie Snake Eyes, starring Nicolas Cage. I've never seen it. I'm not a movie buff. I just know mostly old stuff from the 70s and 80s. But I did have the Truman Show on video, and a lot of people are saying that Erica Kirk is like Truman's wife, and Charlie Kirk was like Truman. He's gotten involved in, you know, he's like, because of his morality, it's all just been set up. Anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. So the 1998 movie Snake Eyes, you've got this is it a boxer called Tyler, and of course the alleged Mormon from Utah, where there's Utah, as Roseanne said, there's a lot. There's MK Ultra in Salt Lake City, where she was born, in Utah, and Utah is where Charlie Kirk was shot. And there's also a Mormon thing, and the symbol that they use is the beehive. And Charlie Kirk's shooter was a murderer. Tyler was a Mormon, apparently, and in Snake Eyes, in this movie, there's a boxer called Tyler who goes down at the moment that this Charles Kirkland? The name of the character that's shot is called Charles Kirkland. Is that right? The name of the actual character that's shot in the movie is called Charles Kirkland. And there's a boxer called Tyler who goes down at the moment that he is shot. And Charlie Kirk's alleged murderer, is called Tyler. And there's if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm mistaken, but the as in the movie, the predictive programming, the guy that shot dead, Charles Kirkland, his wife, is it his wife, who's blonde bombshell, wearing white and a black top, just like what Erica Kirk was wearing at the memorial service. She takes a bullet, and and the Snake Eyes thing is a demonic thing. People are saying that she had snake eyes at the, well, eyes are the window of the soul. Yeshua didn't actually say that. That's not scriptural. I don't know what the scripture actually says for that. I'd have to have a look. But I don't know. It was all very strange. But there's predictive programming in that movie. I think you see the number 910, which is the date that Charlie Kirk was murdered, the 10th of September. Sorry. They say it the other way around, don't they? We say 9th of the 10th. See, I'm getting confused now. We write our date differently to the Americans. We do it, the number goes the other way. But anyway, so you got that. You got the movie as predictive programming. I'll come to this pop video that, I'm sorry, right, hang on a minute. I get a bit tongue-tied, so if it's a bit stressful listening to me, it's stressful talking sometimes. So Erica Kirk was already owned by Donald Trump because, first of all, her father worked for Trump, helped build, he was an architect for Trump Towers, right? Her father was also an architect for the Iron Dome in Israel. Her grandfather, wait for it, I think it was her grandfather, Erica Kirk's grandfather, I think, got a knighthood because Erica Kirk obviously being all blonde like her mother, they have that Swedish look. They've got Swedish roots. Her mother's Swedish. Her grandfather, got a knighthood because it was something to do with from the royal family, the Swedish royal family. So there you go. So Freemasonry, yeah. So again, like Mark Devlin said, no one's dad is a plumber, right? Remember that. No one's dad is a plumber, as in the Freemasons, the elite. You need to have a look at the parents. Now, I've seen nothing about, I've looked it up. There's absolutely nothing about Charlie Kirk's parents. Nothing at all. This woman, though, is owned by Donald Trump. So when Erica Kirk was 17, she went to somehow set up a charity to do with orphans in Romania. Is it Romania? And what I'm about to say is truly, truly horrific. It's on an Oprah Winfrey level. In case you don't already know this, Erica Kirk had a charity, something to do with angels. I have to look it up, but she was just 17 when she set up, when she was the director of this charity, right? She was kicked out of, she and her charity were kicked out of Romania because children went missing. Children went missing. Children were being trafficked from that charity in Romania. These orphans trafficked everywhere, and baby organ harvesting. How do I know? Because I saw someone else's YouTube video that shows the evidence of Erica Kirk and this charity and baby organ harvesting. And who else do I know who exposed that? John Alexander Patterson from the Royal Commission, who I met in Eastbourne Psychiatric Unit. And he went to Scotland Yard he showed me the legalese documents to do with baby organ harvesting on the NHS, as well as fraud, theft and money laundering. And it was Donald Trump. So she and her charity were kicked out. So this was 2006 when she was just 17. She was born on the 20th of November, 1988. She shares a birthday with Joe Biden and my ex-boyfriend. Yeah, she's on the cusp. Another cusp, sorry. I know so much about astrology. But she then gets a letter in the post inviting her to a beauty pageant. It's strange, that, isn't it? You know, we want you to come and win a beauty competition. And she goes on to so no, it's like, was it, hang on a minute. No, I think it was a modeling contract. I don't know if this was in 2006. This was, or it might have been, well, anyway, I think it was 2012 when she won the Miss Arizona, and she's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. She is just perfect. Like Barbie, eat your heart out, you know, blonde hair, blue eyes, sparkly blue eyes, big white teeth, and a perfect body, you know. And the interesting thing is that Charlie Kirk said that he he was interviewing her. She went to, it was Donald Trump who organized for Erica to be interviewed by Charlie for what's it called? Turning Point. I forgot what it's called. Turning Point USA. Because there's a Turning Point UK, and guess who is the CEO? And I shook his hand. Yeah, from Eastbourne, born in Eastbourne, Nick TENCONI. And he did a memorial for Charlie Kirk. But anyway, so basically, Charlie, because I've seen the video where Charlie Kirk is saying, I thought, forget the interview, I'm gonna date this woman. But people are saying that it was Erica who said, I'm gonna date Charlie. Now Charlie, bit like Truman, bit like the Truman Show, Charlie didn't realise that this woman was being put in place as his handler. Erica Kirk was being used by Donald Trump to be Charlie Kirk's handler. And they're saying that's why, because of his morality, why he was taken out. It got to a point where he was basically like Truman saying to his wife, you're in on this. Oh, no. And she was his handler. So as I said, Erica's father helped build Trump Towers. He also was the architect for the Iron Dome in Israel. Her grandfather had a knighthood and was linked to the Swedish royal family, which is where her mother is from. There's Swedish roots. So yeah, I'm repeating myself here. This human trafficking thing, this child human trafficking thing, and baby organ harvesting in Romania, that's linked to her charity from when she was 17. She was kicked out, which is why Donald Trump, because Donald Trump got her the Miss Arizona thing, the modeling thing, in 2000. She won Miss Arizona in 2012. Then this is around the time. So how old was I? I was 29. So Charlie Kirk would have been about 17. And because she was 17 when she set up the charity for the orphans in Romania. She's now Charlie Kirk's handler. He's 17, and he's being handled by someone who also set up a charity at 7. But he doesn't realise that. He thinks he's asking her, Erica, to date him, but she's the one in control. She's the Jezebel. It's the Jezebel spirit. Forgive me for saying this. I've never met the woman. I'm only basing this from what I've seen, what I know to be factual, as in, when I say factual, what I'm seeing on YouTube, and the actual online evidence, and now her this pop video that I've just seen. So these are not conspiracy theories. I'm getting as excited as this African-American guy who's like, my pronouns are I told you so, and you can't call me a liar. I'm now copying him. I'm now copying that YouTuber, because I'm like, oh my gosh, the PSY-OPS really worked on me, because I was looking at this couple thinking, oh, they're beautiful. I even put a Facebook post up. No, but it's not funny. I genuinely wanted to hug Charlie Kirk. And maybe I'm not wrong to still think that way, though, because he's been manipulated. He's been taken out. But then the thing is that what I don't understand about people who sell their souls, they do know what they're doing. If someone comes up to you with a contract, it says, we'll get you in the club, just do this and this and this. Do these hand gestures. This is what this means. This is what this means. You need a lot of money for your charity. In order for you to set up for your Turning Point charity to be successful, you need money from us. You need a lot of money from us. Charlie Kirk turned down, was it 150 million pounds from, or dollars from Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, he wasn't anti-Israel. He was anti the people in power, because he wants. My partner said to me, if you bless Israel, Israel will bless you. Because I once bought some Dead Sea bath salts, and it's a product of Israel. I've been to Israel. I've been to Jerusalem. People find it strange that Erica Kirk was doing probably the pagan pilgrim that I did, which was the Catholic pilgrim. It's not where Yeshua was actually put to death, but she did the pilgrim to Israel, and she said in a snake line she could see Charlie Kirk, and people are saying it's a bit weird that she described it as a snake line. But maybe, maybe the shape of the line. And her mother was saying, she said in her speech, she said, I'd seen him before, but I hadn't seen him before. I kind of know what she means by that, I think. And her mother encouraged her to, her mother got on with quite well with Charlie Kirk, apparently. But the point of the matter is, Charlie Kirk didn't realise that he was being handled. This is all deception. It's all, let's just call a spade a spade. These are high-level occultists, whether they know what they're doing or not. It is so depressing to see Charlie Kirk doing the yoni hand gesture with these other people. I'm just not buying it anymore. The Daily Mail. My mother used to buy the Daily Mail. Even they were saying, oh, people are being cruel. Erica Kirk is just doing the I love you hand gesture. Those of us who know. Praise, hallelujah, Yahuwah, thank you for the knowledge. Secret knowledge. Because they do know what they're doing. They kind of make out they don't. They're doing these hand gestures. They know, they have signed themselves to the satanic secret society. And I feel almost bad that I feel almost stupid that I didn't agree with Mark Devlin. Like, oh, it's a PSY-OPS. Oh, but it can't be. No, of course it can't be. Oh God, I woke up 10 years ago, but the PSY-OPS worked on me. Not now, because I've just got all this knowledge. I've just seen a video. I'll come to this, right? More predictive programming, a pop video, some sort of a music video. Wait for it. And it's this African-American guy who's getting all excited talking about it. he's saying that so Erica Kirk is wearing the kind of clothes that I used to wear, hot pants, and she's got a tattoo and not looking like a modest believer, shall we say. I don't want to say Christian because it's all nonsense anyway. Christian, you know, as Darren said, it's Christendom. But she's in this pop video that's got predictive programming. And she's marrying, she's just had a wedding in Las Vegas in this pop video to a man in the pop video, wait for it, so you couldn't make it up if you tried, called Tyler. So Erica Kirk is in this pop video with this, the man, I assume the man who's singing in the pop video is the guy called Tyler. Yes, I'll remind you again, Tyler is the young man who allegedly assassinated Charlie Kirk. And it's got everything in it. He was showing what... I've literally this evening watched this video by this African-American guy where he's showing this pop video of Erica Kirk and this Tyler in this pop video where they've just had a Las Vegas wedding. Then you see the predictive programming where she's on a zip wire going across the skyline of Las Vegas, and you see the number 910, which is the date that Charlie Kirk, her husband, was assassinated by Tyler. This Tyler. And she's married this Tyler in the video, and you see 910, which is typical predictive programming. I've seen hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of predictive programming. Have you even seen it in One Foot in the Grave? There's loads of it in The Simpsons, like 9/11, you know. But you could, like, I'm starting to sound like this African-American guy. You couldn't make it up if you tried. So what else was I going to say? I'm just reading my hand. Yeah, so that's basically it. And the reason why I'm likening her charity scandal to Oprah Winfrey, because if you don't know, Oprah Winfrey also had a charity somewhere in Africa that involved vulnerable, I think it was vulnerable young girls, mostly young women and girls / children. And it involved abuse. I don't know if it was physical, sexual, but that comes under human trafficking as well. But Oprah Winfrey was, you know, and in case you don't know, Oprah Winfrey went up the ranks of the female, what do you call the female version of Freemasonry? The female Freemasons, because everyone in Hollywood has to be a Freemason. That's a rule. That's just, you know, that's just the way it is. But she's a billionaire. She's the richest, probably one of the richest people in the world. But she was the CEO of that charity, and she covered up all this. Because when they mentioned that the person who has shown evidence, alleged, I have to say alleged, evidence of, and I've seen the photographs of the charity and seeing Erica kissing these, you know, and hugging these orphans, I immediately thought of Oprah Winfrey when I saw that. So yeah, so there you go. You've got predictive programming. You've got it's all there on the world stage. They're basically predictive programming. For those who don't know, it's their way of saying, here you are. It's subliminal. We're putting it. Freemasons have this moral, they call it moral. We are the profane, by the way. Those who are not Freemasons are the profane. You and I are the profane. They have this moral code where they have to put it out there in your face, but you can't see it because you're so brainwashed. It's even though it's there. So that's what predictive programming is. Subliminal, as Mark Devlin said, all the numerology, and a big word that I can't remember what he said. GM something or other. I don't know. It's when it's all that stuff that gets too complicated. But like I said, the Bible warns us about these rabbit holes, and if you go down them, you'll give yourself dementia or Alzheimer's, because the enemy has just, it's the tree of knowledge that we were told not to eat from, and it is just. But anyway, wow. So all I can say is I'm speechless now. But I'm glad I'm just glad that, because I was getting all these YouTube videos that were, even Paul Thorpe. No offense to Paul. I'm a member of his YouTube channel, and I'm disappointed because he said to me, do you want our help? He was the one who actually had I not looked up Charlie Kirk, he said, Charlie Kirk's just been shot and I'm so upset. And I then went to go and have a look, and then I burst into tears because it was just so upsetting to see this. I didn't really know who he was, although I had seen some of his videos, one or two of his shorts. But it was a PSY-OPS. So see, the thing is, Paul Thorpe, I'm not criticizing Paul Thorpe. People have the right to make whatever they want to make, say whatever they like, freedom of speech. But he was going on about the bullets and the types of guns, and I was getting all these YouTube videos about, and it's like, I can't be bothered with that. Loads of people making all these videos about and getting things wrong, and saying that this man was doing a signal to someone, as if to, like when I'm named after Anne Boleyn. My grandmother, my adoptive grandmother, was related to Anne Boleyn. I know so much about Anne Boleyn, all the gory stuff as well. I know that when she was beheaded by a French swordsman, someone tried to distract her so that she would turn her head and they'd get a clean blow. Yes, Anne Boleyn was in my mother's family, my grandmother's family tree, my adoptive grandmother's family tree. That's why my middle name is Anna. And they distracted Anne Boleyn so that's how I know she wasn't blindfolded, so that they could get, because she kept looking back at the French swordsman, And so he got someone to distract her so that they could get a clean blow off her neck, get her head off. And now, someone had said in a YouTube video that there was a man trying to signal to get Charlie shot. And I've seen that man in a YouTube video saying, that's absolute rubbish. I was signalling he said that you've got to be careful what you listen. So I don't bother with all of that. So everything I've just said, I have seen the actual evidence of. And wow. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know anything else. I'm not going to watch all these videos, because the video that I saw that made me cry, that really, really affected me, was the graphic video where you can see blood spurting out here and blood spurting out at the back. But there are people saying, oh, there was no blood. And even in that video that I saw, which was the first video that I saw to do with Charlie Kirk's assassination, was the graphic video, and it said fake blood. And I actually commented on that video and said, why have you put fake blood? This was the video that caused me an emotional like I was in tears. And the person who made the video said, oh, we have to say it's fake blood or YouTube won't let us put the video up. And I thought, that's strange. But now you've got these conspiracy theorists who are saying it was all faked and staged. I don't know. And I'm not even going to entertain that, because I could just go crazy if I was to entertain that. Like I said, everything I've just said, that's enough for me. End of. I'm dealing with enough SHIT. I've got to deal with my local establishment. I'm barely sleeping. I had a gory nightmare the other night, and I don't even watch horror stuff. I mean, obviously, apart from what I've just said. But, I mean, my gosh, it's coming up to 2:30 in the morning now. And, you know, I'm fighting the local establishment at a government level. And like I said, I can't say in this video what I'm doing because of the idiots who have been, you know, including this landlady, this demented landlady and her friend in Seaford. Do you know what? If you are watching this, in case you are, I mean, I don't care. It's more likely that Darren will watch this and no one else. I couldn't care less. I'm talking about the people that know me. At the end of the day, you need to be honest with me, because, you know, Darren is the person is the only reason why I've kept going. And when you love someone who is emotionally abusing you, let's just call a spade a spade. The years of pain and torture that I've been going through and leaving me to sleep rough, and I'm dealing with all these demented weirdos and criminals, and now this landlady, and your friends who are supposed to be Christians, who are meant to have looked after my things, and even Juliet, who you say has died of cancer. You said she's since died of cancer. Even she turned. Yes, I did go mad in her flat. Of course I did. I've been locked up. I've got the email she sent to the former MP, Caroline Ansell, saying that she witnessed me being attacked at Belmore Road. Then I get a brand new flat. Then I'm locked out of that flat. And I get Juliet to speak to Darren's friend, Eben, who's saying she's got rid of my things, disposed of them. Darren was arrested in her flat. And then the police are beating and assaulting me and human trafficking me. Human trafficking. Let's call a spade, because this is bloody serious, Darren. You screamed at me to prosecute you in this landlady's house. What are you doing going to Bedfordwell Road, where her address is? Because I'm being deadly serious about this. You've left me all alone with all this, all this baggage. Anyway, so I'm having to send emails that I don't want to send. Let's just put it that way. Okay, I'm going to end the stream now.